So I made this cage here today. This is just a mock-up. Well, it's a real one, but I mean, this is just the first try. It's actually pretty good, but I need to redo the measurements so that there's no overhang here. I don't know if you can see that. And the holes are not exactly right, but I can use this one to make a really good jig or template. A little crooked and all that, but I can fix that. That's no problem. And working with this perforated stuff is actually easy. It's stainless steel and it is hard as hell. So it's tough to drill and all that, but when you're dealing with perforated metal, it's nice because once it starts to bend, it's going to bend right along the line of holes. So all you have to do is get it started, and it's pretty easy to work with. I used a brake that I have, but I'm going to do the next one with a piece of 1/4-inch aluminum plate to show you how maybe somebody wants to build some for themselves. So I'll build the next ones that way with just a hammer and a piece of aluminum, and that way if you want to, you can do them yourself. And I need to check. I'm waiting for the boards to come so I can see where the holes for the tubes are going to need to go, and then I'll use a chassis punch to go through this stuff. Again, it's hard as hell, but nonetheless. So get 2 of those, one for each amp, and this is the first. And once I got this one to this point, I fumbled through finding all the right ways to do everything. So now it's easy. So I'm thinking maybe I'll make 2 sets or 4 independent covers here, and maybe just put them on eBay or something. There's got to be somebody who's like me and doesn't really like looking at that circuit board. So that's the dummy. That's what's going to be the jig. And then later I'm gonna take the aluminum, which will go across that plate, and then I'm gonna go over and get some. I'm thinking about bird's eye maple to make probably 1/4-inch panels for the side here, and they'll be anchored. I'll actually drill holes in the middle, and it'll give it about another inch of height. And like I said, that way I'll be able to put larger feet on it, and I can use a plate for the front, get rid of all these holes, none of which I'm going to use. I might use that one, but this thing is just an eyesore. That'll be left in the garbage. And I'm not going to use this kind of switch. I'm going to use a push button LED switch. And not sure what I'm going to do. I'll probably use this for the speaker terminals, but they'll be something other than these old phenolic or phenolic or whatever, those boards. And I'm not going to use this power cord hole. I don't want the power cord coming out of this faceplate, so I'll just turn it over here. I can't remember. I was looking at the wiring. It's easy to move without worrying about putting power next to anything that it can influence. So, okay, so that's the next step. Now I'm going to go over, and my girlfriend's grandfather has a wood shop, so we're going to go lay out a template to make the 2 panels. He said he has some Hawaiian koa, so we might do 1/4-inch Hawaiian, not veneer, but the real wood, and then notch for these things, and it'll be maybe 1/4-inch above the chassis, or whatever level the faceplate ends up being. So that is that's the latest. Just for example, to show you what I'm going to do, this is the 1/4-inch aluminum plate that I'll use as a faceplate, and probably make it flush, but that'll give me more airflow, and I also think aesthetically it'll be much nicer, so the panels will come down to roughly the same spot, and it'll basically be a nice mount. Here's a piece of that stuff, so I'll just cut it off. Yeah. So more work to do, which is fun, And there's something else I was thinking, but I'll put it in the next video. So I'm going to do a video on how I make these when I do them by hand, just using a piece of this 1/4 inch. You just put it in a vise and use a hammer and bend it over the edge. And I'm going to do it by hand because I thought, I just feel like I want to make a contribution to the whole YouTube library of information. And this way, if people don't have a lot of tools, I'm fortunate, we have a machine shop, but if you don't have that kind of equipment available, I'll show you how to make one. I already cut the jig right here so that this fits right in here, so that you can make, because there are two 90s here. There's a 90 and then the flap goes under, which is drilled so that these socket head screws can go through there. So a little more refinement, make it more professional looking, but I needed to get this one so now I can adjust the measurements. And like I say, I'll make the next one with this jig, and that way if you feel like doing it yourself, this is just 1/16 of an inch stainless steel plate. I don't know if it's 317, it doesn't matter. Just any stainless steel. You don't even have to use stainless steel. Christ, you could use aluminum, because I'm just going to powder coat these. But with stainless steel, you could polish them. Same with aluminum. You can do whatever you want. You can finish them however you like. But I'm going to powder coat mine and the chassis, and probably the bells on the transformers. So next up is building 4 more of those.